I'm Mo.
And I'm Cassie.
And today we are having the sex talk. What are we talking about today, Cassie?
Let's talk about queer and trans representation in film.
Yes, yes. This is a very important one, and I saw a post that Cassie put on her, I think it was Instagram. She was looking for trans films on, I think it was Netflix or Hulu or one of the two, maybe both, and the ones that she found were extremely problematic.
They were, and I ended up writing an article about it. I write for medium.com, and I ended up writing an article that's gotten a good deal of traction on just different types of representation that we've seen down the years. And we can go back earlier than the 90s and find just horrible stuff. But I picked it up with friends, because this is movies and shows. I picked it up with Friends because I don't know if you remember, Friends had Kathleen Turner playing Chandler Bing's dad.
Okay.
And they referred to her as dad throughout the show, and Chandler was constantly mortified. And so there was a lot of transphobia in the show, mostly emanating from Chandler. But there were some positives and negatives. Morgan Fairchild was Chandler's cisgender mom. And so the rivalry and relationship between Kathleen Turner and Morgan Fairchild, both being the parents of Chandler, was hilarious. Something that I personally really liked is the fact that they used a woman to play a woman.
Right.
Which I guess for the 90s is a little progressive, I would say. But it wasn't a trans woman.
Right. It wasn't a trans woman, but the character identified as a woman.
But the character was a woman played by a woman, so that's important, because quite often we would find, even later, even up to very recently, we find that trans women are played by cisgender men, which is the most dangerous. If it's bizarre, and it's also dangerous, it's very problematic and dangerous for trans women. But then we have other representations, right? I'm sure that you remember movies like Danish Girl, and what else have we seen?
Boys Don't Cry.
Boys Don't Cry, which is the Gwen Araujo story, and playing about a trans man. But there you have the problematic example, because you have a cis woman playing a trans man. So generally speaking, I think that what Hollywood has looked at, which is a very heteronormative, cisnormative way to look at things, is we're going to look at your genitalia, we're going to look at the gender that we see you as, and then we're going to have a person of that gender play you. Which is awful. Now, in some cases, there's something that I guess I can see from a narrative point of view, like in the case of Transparent, because they picked, what's his name, Jeffrey?
I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah, but so they wanted to portray a late blooming, late transitioning trans woman who very much doesn't look like a woman at the beginning of the show.
Right.
And so for that, it is a little bit of a challenge. They played that so well with Laverne Cox in Orange is the New Black. They had the great fortune that Laverne Cox has a twin brother. So when they wanted to show her pre-transition, they had a ready-made person. Right. But so in a situation like that, I can see how it would be excused. But for example, in the movie The Dallas
Players Club,
which was a wonderful performance by Matthew McConaughey, but they had Jared Leto playing a trans woman. Great performance, nothing against Jared, but he had no business playing that part. Because there was nothing that needed to delegitimize that woman as a woman, and the reason why they put a man there to play her is specifically to wink, nudge, nod to the audience of saying, yeah, but she's not really a woman, is she? Which is really insulting. The reason why I say that it's dangerous is because the reason why we end up getting killed, the reason why there is actually an epidemic of especially black trans women getting killed, it's because of this, but she was really a dude. It's a man wearing a dress.
Mm-hmm.
It's a deceit. She's a trap. All these horrible, horrible stereotypes. And there's nothing about me that's a man. And there's nothing about Laverne Cox or Janet Mock that is a man.
Right.
And so if you're going to play a woman's experience, have a female actor play that. And I personally don't care, like if somebody was going to play me, I would probably want Meg Ryan to play me.
I like Meg Ryan or Mariah Carey.
Oh, I love that choice. Yes, absolutely. But that's because I'm not an actor. You see, the problem with cis women playing trans women is the fact that there's a lot of really talented trans folk who are actors who are struggling and who would absolutely love the part. This is probably a little bit of a crude analogy, but if you've all seen Game of Thrones, you have Peter Dinklage playing Tyrion. Wonderful, amazing performance. Peter Dinklage is a dwarf, and Tyrion Lannister is a dwarf, and Peter Dinklage happens to be a really, really talented actor. So it works out really well. Can you imagine how stupid it would have been to have a tall person on their knees playing a dwarf the whole time? It would have been incongruent and silly, and also, like, why not pick an actor who actually has this condition to play this condition? Mm-hmm. It makes much more sense, and it also allows people who represent this demographic to shine as actors.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and it allows more inclusion in the industry.
Yes, exactly. In the Gwen Araujo story in Boys Don't Cry, I think that it would have been a lot more poignant if this was being played by somebody like Jake Gyllenhaal, or very much a dude, playing a dude, because then you get the injustice of it. See, the problem with the fact that it was, gosh, I forget her name.
Hilary Swank.
Hilary Swank, amazing performer. Again, I'm not challenging the performances.
Right, right.
The problem with Hilary Swank playing is that what the director is inviting you to do, and I'm not saying out of malice, I'm just saying kind of out of heteronormativity and cisnormativity.
Yeah.
The director is inviting you to sit there eating your popcorn and watching the movie, and when they start beating the character, the main character, you're in the back of your head, you're thinking, yeah, because she's really a girl. I get it, because she's really... And you're being complicit in the transphobia at that point. Mm-hmm. Whereas if somebody like Jake Gyllenhaal was playing the role, you'd be thinking, why are they beating him? He's a guy.
Right.
And that's the reality of the situation.
Right.
So, but we've had some better representation as of late, mm-hmm. and it's gotten better and better. Laverne Cox has been absolutely amazing as Sophia in Orange is the New Black. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we want to say, though, Hilary Swank, this was really the dichotomy of it, too, is when she accepted the award, mm-hmm. she showed up in a dress, right? Yeah. She showed up in a gown, because Hilary Swank is a woman.
Right.
You know, and she showed up at the awards in this gorgeous gown, you know, to accept the award for
playing a guy.
For trans man. So...
yeah, and that creates this whole kind of like, well, but it's not real.
But yeah, it's not real. That was really a girl, right?
I have to say, the transgender experience is very, very hard for a cis person to empathize with. We empathize because of the fact that we search our feelings and we find a point of commonality and we go, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
And when a cisgender person looks at inside their heart and they're like, oh, I guess I put on a dress once, or I guess, yeah. Or for a girl to be like, I guess I drew a mustache when I was a kid, and none of that really matches this in any shape or form, so you can't really relate, because it is, you know, much as I try, I can't really relate to somebody with endometriosis. I can be as sympathetic as I can, but it's hard for me to be empathetic because I can't really relate to the feeling. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of similar. It's like, you can't possibly understand what this feels like. I barely understand what this feels like. So,
yeah.
But yeah, and other examples as of late that have been absolutely amazing have been in Sense8. We've had Nomi as a character, Nomi Marks. Just exceptional character played by Jamie Clayton. And what I love about this character is that the fact that she's trans is not essential. It's not pivotal to the story. It's just one of the things about her. Yeah. So that's something pretty big. Also, that's something. So we played.
They're doing that a lot more too. There's a character in Jessica Jones that.
That's the most amazing one because it's not even.
They don't even address it. Yeah.
Exactly. So we've spoken about who plays the role, and that really matters. But then how the role is presented in movies like The Danish Girl. There's this narrative of the fact that we're such tragic figures. We're so long suffered. And you know what? Yes, the trans experience is hard, but we're also freaking hilarious. And we're sexy and we're smart, and there's all these other things about us. So why not float some of that? In Tangerine, which is a really fun movie, this is an indie movie shot with an iPhone.
With an iPhone, yeah.
There was a little bit of that. There was a little bit of like, you fall in love with these characters, they're really funny.
Yeah.
But at the same time, once again, it's like a story of marginalization, a story of sex work, a story of living in the alleys and the margins. And what's wrong with the suburban trans woman? What's wrong with the Lyft driver trans woman? What's wrong with the pizza place?
What's wrong with the trans woman living her best life?
Exactly.
Where's that movie? Yeah.
Think about a movie like Mystic Pizza. Wouldn't it be great to have a movie like Mystic Pizza? That kind of ages me, right? With one of Julia Roberts' sisters being a trans girl, or any of the, what about?
It's really like the messages that we receive from these from media, from the movies, they're so insidious. They perpetuate these stories. Like, even as I'm thinking about it, like, evil is always portrayed as this dark, black force. Evil is always black, and what is all,
yeah, it's so dumbified for us. Yeah.
So we're just, and it is very simplified and dumbified, and we don't even notice that it's happening.
That's the sad part. And of course I notice these things because of the fact that I am of the trans experience. So for me, this is what I live and breathe. But other injustices and other attacks on a minority might fly under my radar because of the fact that they not hit me personally. Right. So it's really good.
You don't notice everything.
You don't notice everything, and it's really good to start developing an eye for it and to look up for it. But the most important thing is this, which is, if a trans person tells you that something is transphobic, if a trans person tells you that something is problematic, hear them, listen to them, and believe them. Because a very natural reaction is like, well, it didn't bother me.
Or to be defensive. That's not what I was doing.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I'd be like, you're so sensitive.
You're so sensitive, yeah. Yeah, it's true. Like, the defensiveness makes it really, really hard to even have a conversation about what's painful, what's hurting us, what's harming us, So if somebody's telling you something, believe them.
Yes,
the
exactly.
key is to believe people's stories.
And then there's something that's developing, and I think this came from Native American culture that I really liked, and then it was adopted by black women, which is nothing about us without us.
Yeah,
and I really want to adopt that in terms of the trans narrative, which is, if you're going to make a movie about trans people, for goodness sakes, have a trans person consult with you and sit with you on the film and tell you what you're getting right and what you're getting wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, but anyway, so to wrap up about representation in the movie, it's in the movies and in shows, it's getting better, and I really encourage you to look for it and just start recognizing, when is it unjust to trans women? When do we have a cis person playing a role? When do we have, Scarlett Johansson was going to play a trans man, luckily she desisted.
And is it if a cis person is playing the role, is it of the right gender?
Yes.
Right? Because
exactly.
A cis woman playing a trans man is the incorrect gender. They're being misgendered in the role.
Exactly. If you have a cis man playing a trans man, it makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you want the trans man playing a trans man, because there are many talented trans actors out there who deserve recognition
and that would understand the experience.
And what's the narrative? Are they saying that we're all a joke? Are they saying that we're all sex workers? Are they saying I'm not bagging on sex work. More power to you if you want to do sex work. Unfortunately, many trans women do survival sex work, not of our own choosing, because nobody will freaking hire us.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're not all that kind of stereotype. So I would love to see more and more representation of trans women as just another woman in your environment who happens to have a particular experience, and we need more of that.
Yes. I believe that was the sex talk. Thank you, Cassie.